what I'll say is this: how should we handle it? With the specific examples I gave, believe all women? Absolutely not. That's a non-starter for me. Not believe all women? Are you kidding me? Hell no. Now, what I will say is take all allegations seriously.
There it is.
Perfect.
You know.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-host, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
First of all, I want to officially thank everybody for Shopping Style. Everything that happened there, it was an awesome event, man. We raised over almost $5,000 total for the scholarship. So really good event. Loved every moment of it, man. It's just getting bigger and bigger every year. And shout out to Southern Groove, man. That food was delicious. All the virtual folks, y'all didn't get a chance to taste any of that, but I'm telling you, next year it's going to be bigger, even better. We're going to probably move it to around Jenica's birthday. Align it a little bit better to her, stay away from the football season, all that stuff. So that's around July 25th, but we'll get an official date out to you guys after we do our little retrospective and close out all the stuff on the planning committee. But thank you guys. It was an awesome event. It was super fun. Go ahead, Buff.
Yeah, I see the church thing over there.
Is it going to be a brunch or a dinner like the first one?
Probably a brunch. We like the brunch vibe. It was dope. So what do you guys think? I mean, did you at least watch both of them?
Well, if Tab opinion matters, if you're going to do brunch, she won't like hookah. That's her thing.
She likes hookahs and stuff.
Yeah.
She fancy.
That's her thing, though.
But
and mimosas. She liked mimosas.
It was bottomless mimosas. It was delicious.
I'm thinking you do brunch and roll into a day party.
Oh, y'all trying to get real fancy.
I mean, why stop there?
Yeah.
Why stop there?
It's basically what we did. So anybody, we stopped the live stream, but everybody stayed there. The DJ turned up and everything. Yeah, it kind of pretty much became that. So yeah. It makes sense. So, but yeah, if you are in Birmingham and you didn't make it, make plans for next year. Make sure you come out, support. You're doing it for a good cause and having a lot of fun with it. So thank you guys for that. Quantum Leap is getting better and better every episode, man. So if you haven't watched Quantum Leap, check it out, man. It is a good show.
I'm really behind.
Oh, yeah. How far have you gotten?
Well, I don't remember the last episode. Maybe he was the boxer?
Okay. Yeah, that was a really good episode. So it dealt with PTSD and all that stuff. I mean, yeah.
What was the one after that?
I think he was the bounty hunter.
He was a chick.
With the chick. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the last episode when he was a chick.
Yeah. So the
I know
episodes after that.
That's not politically correct, but
the chick.
But it was the 80s, so I think that it suffice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like it's enough of the nostalgia from the original, but it has its own story line, and so I mean, it's just a dope show. I love the original Quantum Leap, so it's right along with it.
The ratings are falling, and they're talking about potential cancellation. So,
oh man. So yeah. I mean, it's on Peacock though, and I don't know.
It's a lot of people hating on the show though. Anytime you remake something, it's either they don't want it to be like the original and to keep the integrity of the original, or they want you to make it exactly the same. So I don't know. So.
I don't know what they want, man. I mean, for me, it's a great show. So now I definitely want everybody to go watch it to try to get a second season because it's a really good show. It's really fun. So
okay, Buff, what you got?
Before I get into what I got, let me first say hello to the Inspire You on Air audience. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you tell someone to download that app for free, and also subscribe to Three Brothers No Sense on any podcast platform. I've been talking about Fox News for the last couple episodes, whether it's the documentary on CNN or just how they manipulate journalism versus opinionated things, and people confuse the two watching that network. I got one more thing to say about them. I think it's probably going on 2 weeks now, but one of their more popular personalities, Tucker Carlson, who has been, stoking fear about crime all over the country. They're especially pointing to like blue states, blue cities, a lot of big cities like New York, when, I know they don't care about facts over there, but per 100,000 people, Oklahoma has a higher crime rate than New York does. But whatever, that's a fact that they don't care about.
Fake news.
Yeah. What I do want to talk about, because a lot of what he does is dangerous, but in particular, his attack on MSNBC's Tiffany Cross. And it's not that I'm a big Tiffany Cross fan. I mean, I am a fan, but I rarely watch the show. I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of it, but I know who she is, and I've seen clips, obviously. She apparently, on her show, was basically saying that, we need to stop letting white women off the hook. There was a lot of white women in that crowd on January 6th and things like that. And I want to say she maybe even tied it to, like going all the way back to what happened with Emmett Till and how that started with a white woman. And she was basically like, we can't let these type of white women off the hook. Well, Tucker Carlson took that as her saying all white women are dangerous. And he turned it into this, the liberals, the left, they hate all white women. And he had like this whole, I want to say 15-minute segment on how this black woman was such a threat to all of white America, particularly all of white women. And I know we're just a podcast and our reach only goes so far, but that is extremely dangerous, what he did and what he's been doing. And I just want to caution, if you know of anyone that just watches that type of programming and they try to come and regurgitate some of that, be ready to debate them back with some facts, because that's some dangerous stuff that they're doing over there. And I just wanted to speak on it, man, because he picked on Joy Ann Reid at one time. So I don't know if he has an issue with black women or just with women on that network or whatever, but it's dangerous. And I just wanted to point that out.
That's sad and cute all at the same time, Byron. That you really think those type people you can hold a debate with, a logical debate with, and make some ground. I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't matter. It's sad and comical at the same time, because when you watch these people regurgitate the things that come off that news station, especially from him, it's I can't think of any other word but sad. It's just like, wow. And it's so apparent, and they can't explain it. They just keep repeating the same thing they heard on Fox News. They can't go any deeper. They can't give more examples. They make very broad statements. It reminds me of this guy that ran for president once that really doesn't live in facts and just makes broad statements that sound good, and keeps reiterating them. But that's neither here or there. But you brought up Emmett Till, so I'm going to go there. I know people have been waiting on my review of Till. Till was a really, really good movie, but it was one of those things where, well, I'll say this. It was a really good movie, great acting. All the actors and actresses did a great job. The costumes, the feel really took you to the South. I mean, you got the feeling, and they were very respectful of the situation. They handled it. So just for clarity, I know there's a lot of people who don't want to go see it because they're tired of these slave type movies or these horror movies when it comes to black people. They really managed the lynching scene and everything, that whole thing really well, to the point where the movie wasn't really about Emmett Till. It was about Mamie Till Bradley. Like, it was about his mother and her challenges and her struggles. And it hit on a lot of topics that are real today, common threads. And just the mother's love and our charge and our stance in the Black community, how they're spin artists with the news and all this. None of that's changed. It was relevant then, it's relevant today. After we left, even the young men, the mothers, the fathers, everybody, everybody was crying in the movie. They was like, man, I shed so many tears. Z-boo-hoo most of the movie. But it's one of those movies where there's like, how certain movies, like, you get up and clap, or you feel like there's this, after the movie's up, like, you're like, man, that was a great movie. You don't get that. It leaves you in this mood where it's like, because we all know the story, nothing came of it, right? The anti-lynching bill didn't pass until this year, right? So it was a great movie, but it wasn't that aha moment, that feel good moment that you wanted. It didn't take you down this rabbit hole of like, I hate white people or anything like that. It just was like, man, that was good, but like, that sucks. Like, there was no better way to put it. There was no action scene. They didn't try to play it up and, make, you fall in love with a character. It was just, you just follow this mother on her journey trying to bury her son, but also and get justice for her son, but also wanting the world to see how they treated a young Black boy, because that's what he was. And now you did at the end of the movie, hey, what's her name? Sissy? What was the white woman that accused him? I can't remember her name right now. It eludes me, but
I feel like it begins with an M, right?
Yeah, you did want her to catch her outside. Like, she would have had to see me. Like, she would have had some would have had to happen. Like, ugh. But I mean, it was a really good movie. The parents liked it. I mean, the kids liked it. Everybody. I didn't hear anybody have anything bad to say about it, because it wasn't the traditional action film. You didn't get that excitement like we did from Woman King, where like, oh man, that was great, man. They were talking about certain scenes. It was like, man, that was heavy, that was deep. So I advise everybody go see it at your leisure, But it was a really good watch.
Yeah, man, I'm just disappointed in the people that were trying to like boycott it and rally people to boycott it. Same with Woman King. It's like I'm baffled by some of the stuff our fellow Black people want to boycott, but let certain, I don't even want to say his name this episode if possible, but let certain individuals slide with all their crazy behavior for years and say that he's a genius and he has this master plan. And I'm not even saying boycott him, but you let that slide, but you want to boycott a Black woman-led movie, this movie that you just spoke about that people need to know about. Like, you can say how many Teal movies are there going to be, but there's always a generation coming up that they don't know about it. Mm-hmm. So let it be for them, if nothing else. I'm just baffled, man.
I mean, we sat there and talked to parents. Z and I talked to a couple of parents for probably 30, 40 minutes after that. Then the impact and how it affected their sons and their parents, because for a lot of people, they don't realize the impact of Emmett Till. I want to say it happened in 55, 53, something like that. But that was my mom's generation. So Emmett Till was our Trayvon Martin. It was that cautionary tale that we're going to tell our kids and the young men around us, like, you got to be careful, because at the end of the day, they still see you as a threat. They still see you as this. And that was it. I remember my mom growing up in Mobile, all our parents grew up hearing about Emmett Till, because you heard what happened to that little boy in Mississippi. This is when our parents were kids. Mm-hmm. It was that same mindset. They knew about it in the news coverage and stuff like that. And it's so relevant today. If anything, it just shows you things have not changed as much as you thought they did. So people, get off your high horse when it comes to being so pro-Black. Like, stop it. We pick and choose.
Yeah, for the folks that say we don't want black trauma movies and everything like that. That's the same folks who'd be like, get over it, right? That's what it comes off. That's how it comes off. That's what it sounds like. Just get over it. Because like you said, Byron, we have to remember, we have to bring it up. How many Elvis movies has it been? One just came out a couple, and nobody says, oh, well, don't we have enough Elvis movies? Like,
stop making Spider-Man.
Yeah. Batman. Right? Yeah. We've had 5 different Batmans. Like, it's one of those things that I won't say he's a hero, but he is a martyr for us. Yeah. And that what they're calling black trauma, that's what it is. These are martyrs. Those are people who we can see and say they did that to us. Because I'm sorry, but for the just as many black people that watches that and it riles us up, and I hope it does rile us up. There's white people out there that'll be like, oh my God, it wasn't that bad or not. I remember I chaperoned the kid, Sophia, and her class going to Montgomery, and we went through the Alabama archives, and they were telling the story of slavery and everything as we went through the archives. And there was like a couple little white kids that was like, they were talking about the Civil War and everything. It was like, well, who was right and who was wrong? And they just put it out flat out. They were like, yeah, I mean, the South wanted to own slaves, so I don't know what you could think, who was right and who was wrong, but the South fought to keep slaves, so you make that decision yourself, right? And like, I think we need to be able to tell those stories, and we need to keep telling those stories and show what actually happened, because like you talk about, this generation didn't see it. They're not experiencing, they're not talking about it as much. And so they need to see these visuals that our parents did and we did growing up.
Well, they do. We just don't link them. We try to make them separate events. Emmett Till is Trayvon Martin. It's the cautionary tale that we're going to tell our kids. Trayvon Martin has been embedded in our culture. We as parents, our generation is always going to remember the feeling we felt when we saw that. You said you don't want to watch trauma. I can't watch any of the films. I can't watch any of the recordings. I still haven't watched George Floyd's film. I refuse to watch these things. Stop watching those things. But it's, if anything, it just shows you, as far as we think we've come, it shows you how close we are to those same things. How we still have to talk about how do we manage. And there's a part in the movie where she talks about, or one of the characters talks about protecting their kids' youth and childhood, but yet and still preparing them for the real world. How do you do that? Do you try to keep them oblivious to the world around them? Or do you throw them in the fire and try to let them know, like, they got to watch out, and this is the reason mommy and daddy might not let you go to this person's house, or I got to meet this person's parent, I didn't meet this person's, like, it's still the same. Those things have been passed down to us, and as much as we want to try to shelter our kids from that, part of us still feels it's a necessity. Like, you never want your kid to be a part of this because you didn't tell them and you just assume the world's gotten that much better. And that's something I struggle with. My daughter asks me all the time why, the differences in black and brown and white people and all this stuff. Like, she wants to know, and why would they treat us like that? Why would they think that, we're equal? And trying to explain that to a 7-year-old is tough. And should I have to? No, but it's real. There's going to be people that don't look at her the same way. So I'm done. Razi, where's my selfie?
That's how we get better, right?
I need a joke.
Yeah, hold on.
Angry Ferg.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Building a portfolio with Fidelity Basket Portfolios is kind of like making a sandwich. It's as simple as picking your stocks and ETFs, sort of like your meats and other toppings. and managing it as one big juicy investment. Now that's pretty good. Learn more at fidelity.com/baskets. Investing involves risk, including risk of loss. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
Greetings, Sophia.
Greetings.
How was your day?
Very good, very good.
Okay. Fantastically well, I hope.
Yes, very fun.
Do you have a good joke for us today?
Yes, a very good joke.
I've been waiting on it.
Yes.
Favorite part of the show.
Yes.
Go ahead.
My joke is today, what color is the wind?
Blue.
No! No! That's not supposed to happen. That's not supposed to happen.
You gotta have a backup joke in
We
the
do
chamber,
have a
Sophie.
backup plan.
Great guess, Byron.
We do? We have one?
Yeah.
Don't let your daddy pick it.
I won't. Don't worry. Oh, I got one. I've tried to figure out why the ball kept getting bigger and bigger. Bigger and bigger.
Why the ball kept getting bigger and bigger?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why did it get bigger and bigger?
Then it hit me. I didn't get you with that one. I didn't get any of you guys with that one.
The backup one was even better. So there
My
you go.
backup was amazing.
Yeah. I was like, then it got close. It was getting closer. I get that, but then that's what I was thinking. But I didn't get the punchline. Good.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It's
I'll
amazing.
be back next week. Bye bye.
Okay.
Alrighty, that was a good one. I like that one too.
Yeah.
Alrighty, who's going first this week?
I went first last week, so it's on y'all.
Okay, I'll start it off. Well, fellas, last week I had a moment. I was really into myself. Where it was a tough week for me. I don't know what was going on. I don't know how I got out of it. Therapy. I try to work out. I haven't been working out consistently and stuff like that, and I haven't been seeing my therapist as much as I should. But I was like, there has to be more, because there's just moments where therapy just isn't enough. Because at the same time, you still got to talk it out. You still got to verbalize what's going on, and you got to put forth the effort. And I just happened to be listening to the radio, and a gospel song came on that I knew, and it just it really hit me for a sec. I think more so for the nostalgia and stuff like that, and it made me start thinking about religion and the role religion plays in our lives. I mentioned a few, I think, healthy ways for us to deal with, some of the stresses and burdens of being humans and stuff like that. We all have our burdens, but I think I'm speaking specifically for men, because we're still looking for ways to effectively learn how to deal with our stresses, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
So when we're dealing with these burdens we have to carry on our own, what role do you see, or can you see religion playing in our lives? Because I think I can safely say we've all kind of taken a step back away from religion over the last few years. Do you see that there's a place for it? Do you see that, even if you don't get into the whole, I'm super religious, I believe everything the Bible says, do you still see a place in religion, a place in our lives where religion is beneficial to our spirit, our emotional growth, or whatever? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. You want to go first, Byron, or
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been to different countries and seen different religions practiced and everything like that. I think when people talk about religion, especially here in the United States, they only think about Christianity. And there's so many other religions or spiritual practices out there that can kind of do the exact same thing. So I'll talk more from a spirituality or just having some type of routine or something that can actually help you de-stress, decompress, center yourself. So just having yoga and meditation and things like that. You know, there's so many other religions that have so many other things or deities that you pray to. I don't think that really is where you find that solace, right? You can pray to any deity and still find that solace. And so I think religion plays a huge part in most people's lives when it comes to being able to find center, find, you know, just some meaning and some peace and a modicum of peace. There's very much something to be said about being able to turn something over to a higher power, to put faith in God or in whatever your God is, to say, I'm laying this at the altar. God, you got me. And, you know, I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I'm going to release those burdens. And so I think everybody needs to find some form of spirituality or some form of way to be able to kind of lay their burdens down, whether that is Christianity, Islam, Judaism. I don't care if it's Satanism or whatever. And even if, you know, they're into atheism and they find, like I said, yoga or something like that, there needs to be a way for you to be able to decompress and de-stress yourself. I think a lot of people started turning towards Buddhism, which isn't necessarily a spiritual practice. So there's so many different ways, and there's so many ways that you can get to where you need to be from a spiritual realm and a centering of your mind. But I definitely think that has a place in people's lives, and you need to find whatever that is, whether it is, you know, a true religion or some other way.
I think it definitely has a place. I don't know every religion, but I know most of them really stress some type of discipline. And a lot of times that lack of discipline can be at the root of a lot of things that we as men, we as people, but I think you specifically asked about men, go through. You know, we're in a world full of temptations. And when I say temptation, I don't mean just like adultery or sex. I mean, like, you know, there are certain foods we shouldn't be eating or indulging in as much as we do. All type of drugs and things like that. Almost anything can become a bad habit if you do too much of it and you find yourself not being able to do without it. So religion has its place in teaching discipline, and it has a lot of good lessons to learn from. Just a lot of good stories and things that you can just learn from that you can relate to today, to your situation, and use the lesson that the characters learn in it and try to apply it to yourselves. What Razi mentioned as far as a meditation, that's something I don't do that often, but I've tried to at least do it once a week on Sunday mornings. Meditation is something that can be very helpful. So all in all, there's definitely a place I would say is necessary. Not only that is a place, but it's necessary. Like you said, you don't have to be like, you know, so into it if that's not your thing. And even when I mentioned discipline, you don't have to be so disciplined to where you're like judging other people like, oh, wow, you gonna really do that? You know you shouldn't be doing that. No, it's just like to help check yourself and help keep yourself on the path that you feel like you need to be on, that brings you to peace and everything that you need.
Okay. You got both said some really good things. Byron, you mentioned that you try to meditate at least once a week on Sunday mornings. Razi, and this goes questions to both of you guys. How big of a part do you think your religion plays or those practices play in your life? Is it big enough? Does this kind of like, you know what, I probably could or should do more? Or do you find yourself, you know, sometimes when you're down, that's when it's more prevalent? You know, is it a big part of your life? You know, Byron, I know you work out a lot. You know, is religion as big a part of your life as your health and the things that you do? You know, we all try to be healthy and try to do things to make ourselves better, but is it big enough? You know,
it's not big enough. And I actually I pray a lot. Like I don't just pray at night. I pray at least maybe 5 or 6 times a day. every day, whether it's something short, just a quick thank God for making it to work safely, something like that. So I do that, but there's so much more room. Like, I haven't been to church in who knows how long, but I did tell the family I want us to start back going. I haven't read the Bible or anything like that in a while. So there's definitely more room for it. And even with the meditation, man, I think more than once a week would definitely be more helpful. And even with the working out, we had Jasmine's birthday last weekend and was eating bad and, hadn't worked out since last Thursday as we record this Thursday. And I finally worked out today and it felt good. When I was done, it didn't feel good while I was doing it. I was cussing the lady out on the YouTube video. But when I finished, I felt good. So all of that plays a part. The exercise, the meditation, I need to do more of and just be more into it. There's definitely more room for it.
Why go back to church? Do you feel obligated? Because that's my thing. Sometimes we know the principles of religion and, but it's do I need to check certain boxes or something? Is it because that's what I'm supposed to do? Or do you feel there's a benefit to getting back into church, getting into organized religion, or in particular organized religion or something like that, or practices?
I'll give you 3 reasons. One of them has nothing to do with me. One of them is I think it's something that Jasmine should be exposed to a little more. And we definitely have failed at doing that. Mm-hmm. She prays, she knows about God and things like that, but there's so much more she needs to know. For me, it's a way to learn more. There's still a whole lot that I don't know about Christianity, the Bible, and all that stuff. So it's a good way to learn more. And last, I kind of feel like it's the least I can do. You know what I mean? I make sure I go to work. I make sure I go to the majority of the parties I'm invited to. I make sure me and Tabitha have date days when we can. Make sure Jasmine has fun and we go out to dinner. I do all these things, and I've been blessed to be able to do those things. The least I can do is go to this place of worship once a week. I kind of see it that way at times.
Razi, I know I asked Bluff a lot of questions. Chime in at any point.
No, that's fine, man. I mean, it's so funny because I'm almost kind of diverse. I same as you, Buff. I probably haven't gone to church in years at this point since COVID type thing, and I've watched it a couple times on TV and that type of stuff, especially while we were in quarantine. But when you talk about it, I really haven't gone to church, and I definitely agree. The kids kind of make fun, we don't go to church much anymore. Sophie even says that, we don't go to church for real. But they grew up with Jen going every Sunday, and they were going every Sunday. And so it really was kind of a shift. And so I probably do need to get back in church. And I think it is probably more so that exposure for the kids for me than anything else, so that, they do have that exposure to church and understand, and they can grow into their spiritual walk kind of the same way that I did. Right. It's I'm not oh, you got to go to church every Sunday. I really don't care about that. And because I have a good relationship with God, but at the same time, how are my kids going to grow into that relationship with God if I don't take them to church? So that's what I'm kind of battling with and trying to kind of figure out, do I kind of bite the bullet and say, yes, I'm going to take them so that they can get that close spiritual relationship, because they're not going to get it when I don't go to church. Like you say, we pray, we talk about God, they understand it, they know what it is, but they don't know those stories like I know the stories. They don't go to Sunday school like I went to Sunday school. They don't know all of that I grew up. So now at this point in my life, I can talk about the Bible where they wouldn't be able to if, they continue down the path that they're on. They wouldn't be able to talk about it as much. So I definitely think, there definitely is room to grow there. But back to your initial question of, what for Black men and for myself in general, do I feel like it's enough for me right now? Yes, I do. I don't feel like I got to go to church to feel connected to God. Right. I feel like I pray enough and I have enough understanding about those parables and about the Bible that I don't need to rehash it. It's kind of like I went to college for finance. I know generally enough about it that, you know, I can talk finance. I don't have to go back and be like, oh, let me go back to these finance courses and learn more about it every time. It's like, I got the gist, right? I know how to live my life. I know what God is and what he means to me and everything like that. And so that I think striking that balance of that. And then when you talk about time constraints and everything like that, I mean, I'm big about, like, are those 2 hours, are those 3 hours, are those 4 hours can be used for something else? And you know, am I going to get that out of, or get something out of it that really hits home for me in life? And so, you know, that's why a lot of times I've watched church and that type of stuff, and streaming is the best thing for me because I don't have to do all that extra work. But the problem with that is the kids aren't getting what they need by me watching and streaming. So being a parent, I feel like I got to get back into it so that I can be a good parent for the kids and teach them that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you guys said a lot. I mean, Razi, even picking up on something you said bite the bullet. And I'm kind of in that same place where I'll speak for myself. I don't know how you guys feel. Like, I grew up in a church and stuff like that. I've read the Bible. I know the parables. I know the verses and stuff. I'm not one of those people that's like, well, in Matthew 3, chapter 2, like, I'm not that person, you know, that can just quote verses. But, you know, I feel like I'm knowledgeable enough. But I'm also going to be very transparent and say I'm not a person who's a Bible thumper. Like, I believe, take the Bible at its word, you know? And so that's my challenge, you know, almost being, you know, some people say you're too smart for your own good. It's like, am I doing it to make sure my kids get those lessons to check the box? Right. And am I going to church to check the box to say I went to church? Am I doing those things? And I think that, and I'm saying this to preface, I think that's what stops me from being so open to just jumping back into religion like that, you know, where I'm defaulting to that, you know, because I went to school and they taught me X, and it's like, yeah, they teach you this because you're supposed to learn it, but actually the world works like Y. And I'm not knocking any religion or anything like that. It's like, I do believe in a higher power. I do choose to call him God and stuff like that. So because that's how I was raised. But do I believe in all the parables and stuff like that? I can't say I do. And so part of me being me, I overthink that part of it. It's like, you know, but the biggest takeaway, and Byron, you said it, is because of the way I think, because of the way I am, and I think because how we are as men, where even when I was explaining going to the therapist, I have to mentally and verbally try to explain what I'm going through. You know, when I'm working out, I have to give an effort. And religion and church for me, or having a relationship with God, was the only point, especially after losing my father. And I think this was another part that made the whole discussion really challenging for me, was being able to turn into a higher power, because there's nobody else for me at this point. I can't turn my burdens over. I can't express myself. Like, it's part of something I don't even want to express myself. You want those raw emotions that just like, it is what it is, you know, Lord, I'm put it in your hands, whatever, however you want to say it. You know, my wife can turn things over to me, and at the end of the day, I got to get it done. You know, it's, man, the house, you know, we got to pay this mortgage. I don't know how we're going to pay it. We got to pay it. Guess what? I got to find a way to pay it. You know, but for me, it's those things, those challenges, being the head of our household. And I'm not saying men have it any harder than women, because I know you guys have your struggles as well. But I'm saying, from men I talk to, myself, I know a lot of times we don't feel like we have people we can turn over a lot of our challenges, burdens, stresses, or whatever over to, and trying to find it. And that's part of it. We're trying to find somebody. We're trying to create a solution. And sometimes it's not even about a solution. It's just being able to say, hey, here it is. I'm leaving it right here. Even if you know, if you do that Sunday, Monday, you got to get up in the morning and go fix it. But Sunday, I just put it on. I left it at the altar, at altar prayer. I left it there, and I'll get it Monday. You know, even if it's emotionally or spiritually leaving it there. And I'm trying to find that balance there, like, do I believe just leaving right there is going to solve everything? I don't know what I believe right now, but I'm just trying to figure it out and knowing I need to do more because the way I felt the last few weeks I don't feel like it's healthy for me, healthy for my family, and just trying to, I'm always trying to improve myself. And it was funny, I was talking to Lenny about this, and he was saying on other things, being able to turn certain things over. When I'm thinking about financials, like, well, maybe you need to get a financial planner, turn it over. Maybe, you had your turn to do this, even like how people get a personal trainer. You say you want to get in shape. You've had your whole life to get in shape. It's never happened. Get a personal trainer. Same situation, being able to turn it over to something or, something or someone greater than yourself or better than you at dealing with these issues. And maybe it's just that. So I've said what I had to say. All right. That question went a little longer than I thought it would.
Well, mine'll be short. I just got a real quick question for y'all.
That never happens.
When are Christmas decorations supposed to go up?
The day after Thanksgiving.
Day after Thanksgiving. Thank you, Ferg. Oh, don't tell me y'all already got stuff up.
No, but here's my caveat. No, I'm not going to say that because y'all going to judge me. I know people right now that are paying somebody to put up their Christmas decorations. And so if you're paying to put your Christmas decorations up, the day after Halloween or the week after Halloween is fine with me. Now, I'm not saying you can turn them on every night, but I'm just saying if I'm going to pay $300 to get my Christmas decorations put up, my Christmas light picked up, and you got less than a month to watch it. No, if I can get 2 months out of it, y'all gonna be mad at me. That's but and
you got scheduling. I understand. I understand. If you're paying somebody to put it up, you put it up, but you don't turn it on. Yeah, I mean, even if you put it up, you don't turn it on before Thanksgiving. That's the rule.
I don't know. If I'm paying $300, I'm turning that thing on day one. I'm turning that down. If they put it up at 2 p.m. on Saturday, guess what time my light's gonna be on? 2:30.
Middle of the day, just wasting electricity.
Just wasting electricity.
But because I posted on Facebook and I was just like, lights don't go up till after Thanksgiving, and there are a lot of people that are just all over this whole waiting to Thanksgiving thing. They do not care, and I'm appalled at this. Like, I don't get it. Like, does Thanksgiving not get any respect?
I think they lump. I think they lump the holidays and like to me it's they call it the holiday season. I feel like you kind of lump it all. You can lump it all together to a certain extent because to me Halloween kicks off the holiday season. Like it's almost like the Mardi Gras the holiday season. Like the big celebration, you're doing everything. You go, dress up, do whatever you're gonna do, candy, all that stuff, moon pies. I might give out moon pies when you're for Halloween. I was just thinking that
next Halloween I might give out moon pies.
You gonna get egged. You heard it. I hate moon pies. I hate them. Ooh, I hate moon pies.
A banana moon pie? Oh, man.
That is the worst moon pie.
What? No, vanilla moon pies are the worst moon pies. Those are disgusting.
I wouldn't.
You don't even like a microwave or anything?
No. I haven't had a moon pie since 1997, 6, maybe. But I think for a lot of people, they need that moment. They need the holiday season. Like they live for it. It's they get into it because with the way the world be whirling. The way life be lifing, you need every bit of joy because, the world moves different during the holiday season. The closer you get to Christmas, the happier people are, the more people are giving. And the sooner you can get into that mood or that mode, hey, man, maybe life doing you right where you can wait till the day after Thanksgiving. Because there's been weeks I ain't put my stuff up till the week of before Christmas. So
that was me last year. So, but I think I'm gonna start outsourcing it and getting somebody else to put up my decorations. So,
because you make a lot of money.
No, it's outsourcing time, man. That 3 hours. So, but there's something you said about pulling out the decorations and putting them up. Putting on the Christmas music and all of that. But that's the thing. I can't feel comfortable turning
you don't put on Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. Though.
But see, that's the problem. I can't decorate for Christmas without the Christmas music. That's part of it.
No, you don't put your tree up. You put your lights up.
No. See, all of that's the same. You got to do that on Saturday. Like that's my routine. Is I pull out the boxes. You got to put on the Temptations. And so I open the first box to In My Mind.
If that's the case, then you wait till after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
There's only one way. If somebody's coming to put your Christmas lights up, you can put them up. It's kind of like it's like preseason. Preseason.
Yeah. So music before, you can't listen to music before, but you can put your decorations up.
They don't even put the all Christmas station on until after Thanksgiving.
Exactly, which is why you shouldn't be decorating.
Because music is different.
No.
it's not. It goes.
It's written. It's written somewhere. I have to find it. It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible.
Horrible. That's all I had, man. It just irks me every year when I see it. And it's time.
Yeah, I would definitely judge you if I heard you listen to Christmas music. Speaking of Christmas, but while we're on the subject, man, Christmas Story is coming out.
Oh yeah, they got a new one. Yeah, they're updating it. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I still like 8-bit. So if you guys, that is a Christmas movie that came out. It's basically a Christmas Story with a Nintendo instead of a Red Ryder BB gun.
It's not Christmas Story.
I mean, it's
same format.
Yeah.
It's a little kid in Christmas. Okay, I give you that. But but no, Christmas Story is coming out. Like I didn't even know about. I don't know how it slipped up on me. I didn't know anything about it. Like it just popped up and it comes out in maybe a week or two. Couple of weeks?
Really? I didn't know. I thought it was coming out after Thanksgiving, but
maybe I don't know. I got super excited, so I might be prematurely getting excited for this video. I mean, this movie, but I will be watching it. So now I have to I got to figure out how I'm gonna do it now because I watch Christmas Story every year for Christmas. My kids have seen parts of it; they never watch it. But now because the sequel's coming out, she has to sit down and watch it. It's like no other option, So. What you got for us, Buff?
Oh, and it's on HBO Max.
Yep.
Do we have time for another question?
Yeah, I mean we got it. We can make it. How deep are you getting?
There's some potential landmines on this.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So there's this show on Apple TV called The Morning Show, and it's with Jennifer Aniston and my boy from Steve Carell from 40-Year-Old Virgin. They're like the main two characters, and it deals with, at least the first two seasons have dealt with Me Too. And Steve Carell's character is like almost like a Matt Lauer, Good Morning America type figure. Like he's the top guy. He's been the lead anchor. And this sexual misconduct allegation comes out and he winds up getting suspended. And his co-host, who's Jennifer Aniston, who's friends with him, is trying to deal with it because she obviously should be on the side of women. My question to you guys is, how should we handle Me Too? Because I've heard everything from you should believe all women. I've heard some women say a grope is no different than rape because you can't tell that woman how it makes her feel. So it's all the same. And even with that show, with Steve Carell's character, it's similar to what the comedian from Saturday Night Live went through in a way. I think his name is Aziz Ansari. But basically, he had this encounter with a woman that he brought back to his place. And she came out later and said she didn't want that. And so it's like some men are feeling like, so am I supposed to read a woman's mind if she goes through with it? Am I supposed to also know that she doesn't want it and back off even if she doesn't tell me no, but I'm supposed to just like automatically know? With all of those different type of examples and scenarios, how should we handle Me Too?
As men, outside of saying that women are right every time they say it, everything we're going to say is going to be wrong. I'm just letting you know. Just throwing it out there. But that's just like cancel culture as a whole, though, right? Like if you don't agree with the victim, then you're wrong. Like I don't know how. I don't know how to manage that because I think as respectful and careful as the three of us are, you don't know what action could lead to somebody feeling, disrespected or assaulted. Like, we can go to all class, you hug somebody too long, and all of a sudden they felt uncomfortable and you have violated them. And that's a lower form of the extreme, but that's a case in, like, what do you say? Is it because of his intent? Is it because, like, is there, like you said, it does, a grope is just as bad as rape because it depends on how it makes a woman feel. So if I hug three women all the same way and one feels completely offended and the other two are completely fine with it, there's still a case there. And I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know if there's an answer. I don't know if, I don't know how we play that.
Yeah, it's one, I want to say it's definitely levels. A grope is not the same as rape. And I mean, anybody who's saying that, they just, I don't know how you even get to that. Right. I mean, there are levels, and because reactions to that should have levels, right? If somebody gropes somebody, maybe they lose their job. Maybe
it's how she feels, Razi.
And that's fine. I get it. But I'm not. You're not going to prison for a grope, right? And so, Me Too has to understand that depending on what happened, right? A grope versus he hugged me too long versus he forced a kiss on me versus, he raped me. Like the responses are going to be totally different for those. I feel like a grope is something, heartfelt apology type thing might work, right? Versus he groped every woman in the office might be something different, right? Or he said he had this, aura of hostile work environment. Women didn't even feel comfortable coming in the office around him. He had a position of power versus he was my peer. Like there's so many different nuances to it when you really talk about it versus just, oh, he groped me. Guy on the street groping you is going to be very different than your boss groping you. And so I think we need to really be careful about trying to lump all that together and saying the response is going to be the same. I mean, it's not, and the response shouldn't be the same, right? And kind of the same thing with cancel culture, Ferg. Like you're saying, depending on what they say and depending on how they respond, a lot of times is how cancel culture looks at it, right? And so intent might be a little bit of it, right? It's like he hugged me too long, I felt a little uncomfortable, and maybe it was a normal hug, but you've been raped or you've been molested in the past, and so now it made you feel some type of way, but it really wasn't the guy
and
doing
at that
much
point your
different.
intent doesn't matter,
right? But I mean, it does matter, right? I mean, we have to look at it from like a court of law type thing where it's like a reasonable person would have thought that was a regular hug or not, right? It has to be that way. It's very simple with a grope. He touched her, but is it the same as I was walking by, excuse me, and I accidentally rubbed your booty? Like, because that has happened before, right? You've rubbed across somebody wrong sometimes, and not just trying to get by somebody. I mean, it's different heights, that type of thing. I mean, I was sliding between some folks, and this chick was like 6'2" or something like that, and I actually didn't touch the booty. But I'm short, she's not, and my arms was right at her booty. So as I put them straight out, it just happens. And I was like, my bad, my apologies, I'm sorry, and and we kept it moving. She kind of giggled about it. And so maybe she wanted me. I don't know. But it's very different than, you walking by and I'm not squeezing by you and I reach out and grab your butt. And those responses need to be different. And we as society need to make sure that we're holding everybody accountable, but at the same time, we're not over exaggerating the responses.
And I agree with you. And what I wanted to stress was, like I said, I think as men, anything we say is going to be challenged. Right. So that's the biggest part of it. Of course, there's levels to it, like legally and criminal offenses and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's the court of public opinion where you're losing your job, because Byron the hugger hugged every girl's in office, but he also hugs every guy, the chest, he's just a hugger. But all of a sudden, because you offended, one or two women, now you're potentially, being passed up for promotions or whatever the case may be. It's one of those things where we gotta.
The hugger, that's socially awkward. You probably need to be passed over.
At a certain point, we have to be able to get to a point where there's open conversation. And that's what I meant by whatever we say is wrong, because we're not at a point where anything we say, we're mansplaining. How men, if we're you got to protect him because if he didn't mean this and he shouldn't go to jail for this, like you're mansplaining. Right. So it's how do we have a real conversation? And it's like, teach us, like let's sit down. Let's not over exaggerate. Let's not throw up crazy scenarios. Like what is acceptable? What's not acceptable? For one, because like you said, or somebody, it's two different people can have two different reactions to the same thing. Hey, Christine, that's a nice dress. Oh my God, I felt, why does my dress have to be nice? Why are you looking at me that way? Like you can go to HR for those type things, right? Like, and at what point is it like, I don't want to say boys will be boys because once again, we're making excuses, but how do we get better? I guess that's the question. I don't know how society gets better without just men are scared to talk to women. Men are scared to do anything, which I can't say men are scared because we're still out there doing it.
I think, like you say, not to say boys will be boys. I think that really kind of comes down to the answer. When you have to use that excuse, boys will be boys, you've gone too far. I don't think anything that one of us three would ever do to a woman would come off as Me Too, because we respect women like that. We wouldn't do that, right? So even if we hugged a little too long or it lingered or whatever, I doubt somebody will be like, they made me feel uncomfortable or they were trying to like come on to me type thing.
Is it because it's us? Like, is it because it's one of us, or is it because of what we did?
It's because of how we've carried ourselves up to that point, right? It's because they feel like we aren't the creeper, I guess is probably what it is. It's that aura that those guys do, because very rarely does somebody get Me Too'd for a single act. And I think that's really what it's like. You have to have kind of that history of, oh, that's the dude, right? And that's when they get Me Too'd. I haven't seen many. He groped me one time and she's the only one that came out and we instantly cancel them type thing. I haven't seen many of those. Most of the Me Too things that you see are the guys that, there's talk around the office about that guy, right? 20 women has done that, right? You've got 3 HR complaints about that guy in the last 6 months. Like those are the guys that usually get Me Too'd. Or even if it's like they're very, very high executives that are very blatantly, I'm gonna whip my dick out, or that type of thing. Like those are the guys that get Me Too. It's not
whip it out.
Yeah, like or come on in. You need to do something for me if you want to get promoted. The quid pro quo guys. Those are usually the guys that get Me Too.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
So the morning show. First off, let me just say, check that out. It definitely handles the whole. Like all angles in arguments, I think, get explored on the whole, everything surrounding Me Too. So check that out on Apple TV. What I'll say is this, how should we handle it? With the specific examples I gave, believe all women? Absolutely not. That's a non-starter for me. Not believe all women? Are you kidding me? Hell no. Now, what I will say is take all allegations seriously.
There it is.
Perfect.
And then go from there. A groping equals rape? No, it does not. Now, does it make you feel as much of a victim as a rape victim? maybe. I'm not a woman. I don't get grabbed on like that. So maybe, but that is not the same. That is not equal. I'm sorry, it's not. But how it makes you feel, I'm not here to negate that. As far as, mind reading and stuff like that, that one is a little more nuanced and more difficult. I think a lot of men should definitely, because sometimes women, I can see where some women may feel trapped to where they don't have a way out and they're almost obligated to say yes. So just kind of, I don't know, even look for those silent cues. Like even in law enforcement, you don't necessarily have to have a suspect say, I'm about to whip your You can look at that body language, how he's bracing himself, a certain look in his face and say, oh, he about to try to whoop my ass without him even saying it.
But she's playing hard to get, Bob.
Well, listen, the playing hard to get days, that's over. It used to be a song called that. Don't block that song out your head.
Yeah. No, that is called role play that happens after you guys have had consent and you be like, hey, I like this type thing. You don't do that on the first time ever.
Hey, it doesn't matter how many times you did it, bro. One no is a no.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to have that conversation beforehand that we are role playing this.
Yeah, and if you do happen to engage in that, and the woman reveals to you, because I think with this comedian from SNL, she wasn't trying to put him out there. She texted him after and was like, "Hey, I really didn't want to do that. My advice, you don't have to take it. My advice would be, don't be an asshole and say, no, you wanted it. Hey, my bad. I thought be as apologetic as you possibly can.
But don't they teach you not to apologize? Because apology is an admission of guilt. A lot of times lawyers say never apologize, because once you apologize, you admitted that you were guilty, and now that could be used against you in a court of law. I understand what you're saying as a nice guy. Like if you're genuinely like, you know what, I'm.
I thought that's not necessarily you have to apologize. We were like, I thought you were into it. Yeah. That needs to be a response. I thought you were into it.
Yeah. I mean,
that may be even better. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a conversation that need to be had, because self-preservation, I put that in the text earlier today, self-preservation for most people comes first. It's like, if I start apologizing, if I start going down this road, I'm admitting that I'm guilty and I get in trouble. And now she's trying to turn, or she's trying to play me. It's how do you respect her feelings? And I think, Buff, you said it, at the end of the day, we have to take all allegations seriously. So groping does not equal rape. But at the same time, if you hear that case, if you're a police officer, HR, or somebody who is taking the lead on this situation, you take a rape allegation just as seriously as you take the other allegation, because you don't want to downplay it. Because a lot of times people try to sweep it under the rug or try to downplay it, and that's where the problem starts spiraling. Mm-hmm. So,
and the part I left out too, while I don't think groping equals rape, you shouldn't be groping anybody.
Yeah, we're too grown for that.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. Like don't grope anybody. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
That's all I got, man. We navigated those minds, I think, pretty well. We'll see.
We'll see. Take them all seriously. Women, we apologize on, if you've ever been, or if this triggers anything or something that was not our intent. It's more for understanding. Let's go ahead and close it out, fellas.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
You know what's smart? Enjoying a fresh gourmet meal at home that you didn't have to cook. Meet Factor, your loophole in the laws of mealtime. Chef-crafted meals delivered with a tap, ready in just 2 minutes. You know what's even smarter? Treating yourself without cheating your goals. Factor is dietitian approved, chef prepared, and you plated. Pretty smart, huh? Refresh your routine and eat smart with Factor. Learn more at factormeals.com.
Okay, I'll start off with an apology. I want to apologize to white people. This might be my second apology to you guys. I feel like I've done this before. But, I looked at the cult-like behavior that some of you MAGA supporters have for Trump. And I always said, black people would never be like that over somebody. Like, we had Barack Obama, and we wasn't like that over him.
You said you weren't going to mention him.
But then this musical artist came along who everyone refers to as a genius. And I have been proven wrong, white people. Apparently, my people can have a cult-like behavior with an individual figure. And it does not matter what he says or does. It's either he's right or is a part of a plan that we don't know about yet. Either way, he's a genius. Everybody else needs to be quiet. And he is a victim and all of these other things. I just did not think that could happen, but I have witnessed it the last couple of weeks in particular. And so I owe you guys an apology. Apparently, it can happen to any race, any culture, because it is definitely happening with some of my people. The other thing I want to talk about more seriously is I've mentioned before how Erica Perkins was one of the first people that pointed out how the media does not mind showing the murder or killings or dead black bodies laying on the street. We saw it with Michael Brown. We saw it with George Floyd. We've seen it time and time again. A lot of times when they do show a white murder, it's blurred out or they won't even show it at all. They'll say it's too graphic to be shown on TV and they'll just explain what happened. But for whatever reason, they don't mind showing black bodies on TV. And I feel like it has infiltrated us as a people. We are now guilty of it because the murder of that young man in Houston, Takeoff from Migos rap group. So many people were sharing that picture of him laying there bloodied up and dead, lifeless. And people were sharing it like it's okay. And I just, where's the decency? Like, if that's your family member, do you want that shown for the whole internet? Like, we get it. He was killed. We don't need to see that. But I just feel like we have been so desensitized when it comes especially to black bodies that there is no empathy. People don't mind showing it. They showed George Floyd's murder, the entire 8 minutes and 46 seconds of him, from him having life to him no longer having life, to him saying his very last words and his last breath. That was shown on multiple cable news outlets. Like it was okay. So I just want we as a people, to at least use a little more caution, a little more restraint when doing that, because that is traumatic. Ferg even mentioned he doesn't even like to watch it. I've heard other people say it. And if the media is not going to respect it, we need to at least respect it and stop showing that kind of stuff. That's all I got.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. It's sad what happened over a dice game. But all that I have, man, is we have breaking news that the Department of Justice, or not Department of Justice, the DOD has put boots on ground in the Ukraine. That's a big, big deal. That they're supposed to be there for peacekeeping, humanitarian assistance, that type of stuff. But we know how that works out. So just having boots on ground is a huge step. And so just prayers up to any of those guys and gals that are there. And hopefully all of them come home safe. And hopefully we cannot cause an international incident where World War III pops off. Luckily, Russia and some of the oligarchies there are starting to kind of turn on Putin, because this war has been going on for 9 months now, and they still haven't taken Ukraine. They haven't even taken parts of Ukraine that they wanted to take. So shout out to Ukraine and those freedom fighters that are still fighting over there, or not even freedom fighters, defending their homeland. And but we just pray that the U.S. can get in and get out quickly, and we don't cause this, long drawn out new war just from this incident right here. So that's all I got, man.
Well, I'm gonna keep it serious on the closeout. This show will drop next Monday, which is the 7th, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday is the 8th. It's midterms. Get out and vote. I'm hoping everybody that listens to this show, by the time the show has aired, has already voted. Most places still have early voting going on, so please, we should normalize early voting. We should make that our thing. We should, get sections at the polls. I don't know what we need to do. Bottle service outside. I don't know what needs to happen for us to get out there and take it seriously, but we need to vote. Voting in midterms, early elections, local elections it's very serious. There's a lot of key states, a lot of key positions up for grabs, and it's going to get scary. I mean, I don't think many people are as aware as they should be on the potential of the power swing within the next week. Mm-hmm. Within the next week, the country could be headed in a completely different direction. So please get out and vote. Please encourage your friends and your family to vote. That's all I have. 3 brothers, no sense. 6 rules of podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.